And good evening, folks. Glad to have you for a few minutes here on this Thursday night. We're this much closer to Friday.
Oh my gosh, it cannot get here soon enough.
Amen, amen. James Brown, Chief Meteorologist, McCall Vrydaghs, and the title of this Facebook Live, Community Rises. Did you watch?
Did you watch? I watched.
Yes. So for folks who are immediately going to say no, what's happened over the last month is our Special Projects Unit has, what they did is they produced an hour-long special that aired tonight on Channel 7, and it walked everyone through what happened that day, a month ago today in the afternoon, as McCall was kind of tracking some weather, and then how things just suddenly escalated into the evening hours. The 15 tornadoes that hit that night when you and Cheryl were on the air, compounded by what happened in the coming hours, days, and weeks after that, leading up to today. So I'm going to tell you right now, and again, I might be biased, and I see a lot of people saying, yes, they watched. Great job. Thank you, Stephanie. Yeah. If you missed it, there's going to be an opportunity again Sunday afternoon, correct?
Yep, at 12:30 on Sunday. So if you have a moment to sit down and watch, or you forgot to set your DVR tonight, set it right now for 12:30 on Sunday. It's an hour long, uninterrupted. There's no commercials. Correct. And it's a sequence, as you said, of events and personal interviews. And I say grab the tissues, especially if you're someone that gets teary-eyed with, emotional type of films.
Yeah. And, it's one of those things where, keep in mind, folks, commercials pay our salaries. Commercials keep the lights on here on broadcast television. But this was a situation. I'm going to give kudos to Mike Briannick. I just saw him log on. He was the gentleman behind the scenes. He was one of two that worked hours upon hours upon hours. Michael is a photojournalist here. He is the one that makes pictures and sound come to life, so commend him. But I want to let you know, our company decided to do an hour uninterrupted because we didn't want to get in the way of the story. We didn't want the advertisements to get in the way. I will tell you this: we had 3 corporate sponsors, and they were shown once, and that was it. Yep. But again, it was important for our organization to show that we are here together. This is our community. We all remember what happened. I was actually off that night in Michigan.
Yeah, I know.
Watching you and Cheryl as the tornadoes hit.
I think that just goes to show that we do care about our community and where we live. Cheryl and I, as you mentioned, were here, and you could see it as you were watching us on TV. But I know you felt guilty that you were so far away when this happened, that he was only on his first day of vacation, and you hopped in your car and drove how many hundreds of miles back to be here because you knew how important it was.
I think what people sometimes, you folks see us on Facebook, you see on television, you watch us on television, and this guy wears makeup because I'm in front of lights. But at the end of the day, we are just like everybody else. We live in this community. We eat at restaurants in this community. Our kids play in parks in this community. This is where we live, You're a transplant here from New York. I was born down at the Wilmington Hospital, but I grew up out west. But this is where we live. Yeah. And to see what's happened to our friends, our neighbors, even people that we never met until this tragedy happened, it's vitally important to us. So I want to let you know, people are asking as well, will this be able to be seen on social media and on our website? Yes. We did air it. People are able to watch it live on our website, but again, in the coming days, we will be posting it on our YouTube channel.
Yes.
And so forth.
Yeah. So 12:30 on Sunday, and then I believe after that, if you have if you have Roku, Amazon Prime, or Apple TV, the full episode will be put there. It's not there yet, but it will be probably by Monday. But what you can get on what we call our OTT app, so if you have Roku, Apple TV, or Amazon Prime, is our full-length interviews. So if you watch tonight, you just got bits and pieces of my interview and everybody's, but you can watch the full conversation and experience from each and every one of us that were part of the program tonight.
I think when you look back at the last month and you look at what happened a month ago tonight, and it was almost to the minute when I was watching. And again, where I was in Michigan, folks, no television, no internet, no Wi-Fi, and I couldn't get Facebook, and I kept getting these alerts from our weather app. And I hit the weather app, and I was watching Cheryl and you live almost to the minute, and all this stuff was really, when it was really getting bad. I guess looking back, what have you learned about yourself over the last month after what kind of you saw, you went through? And I mean, you were out in the community seeing people face to face, and seeing that some of these people had barely anything left.
What I've learned, I guess, about myself is that what my job is so important. I knew it was important before.
Sure.
But to have so many people, I'm just out at dinner, last weekend, and someone saying, "Are you McCall?" And yeah, and then they all have their own stories, and they're all just so thankful. And to realize I've touched so many lives, it's hard to grasp that when we're sitting in the studio and we're just talking to a camera. It's not like we have a studio audience there that we can make that connection with. So I've made a lot of connections with all of you, and it makes me just really happy to be here.
Yeah. And I think, I think when all's said and done, we talk about, what have we done? What's a positive? How have we left this place a little better than when we showed up? And when you think about that, at the end of the day, we're all just kind of looking out for each other.
Yeah, we're all looking out for each other. I think that we are all wiser because of it. I think that, sometimes you need a little reality check.
You do.
And I think we all got it. And thankfully, there weren't more lives lost. Thankfully, there weren't more people injured. Thankfully, the technology has advanced as much as it has, that we could save as many people as we did. So.
And I think, at the end of the day, there are other parts of our community and our viewing area that were not touched.
Yeah.
That people, I heard there was bad damage, or I heard that people, were impacted. But, other people have kind of gone on with their lives. And I think what we all have to kind of remember is, we take things for granted. And, if you think you're having a bad day, let me tell you this. I suggest you get on 75, you head north, you get off on Wagner Ford Road.
That's all you have to do.
And there you are. Or you take the 35 west, head toward Trotwood, get off in Trotwood, and there you are.
Yep.
These people, and again, Sean Cudahy's talking with folks tonight, a month later, and how some people are doing well, and some people have been very fortunate, have received money from FEMA. Others, they're almost lost.
Yeah.
They're just stuck in kind of hell when it comes to leaking roofs, no windows, houses that are unstable. One person went from a demolished house to staying in another house that is going to be condemned because it's so unsafe. And that's the way people are living, whether it's 5 minutes from our front door, or 5 minutes from yours. I think it is easy and it's quick to forget that this is not over.
Yeah.
This is going to be a situation for months, even years to come.
And here at Channel 7, we're not untouchable.
No.
We've gone out, we've seen it. We have people here that work here that were impacted. If you guys have stories, we love hearing your stories. It can be cathartic to tell the stories. So feel free to send us some messages. I've enjoyed reading all of the messages you guys have sent me.
Yep, and I think it is. I think it's healthy, and I think it's a way for people to cope. As we talked in our meetings in the days after the tornadoes, you see this process. I've covered numerous disasters over the years, and you can see the process where people, they go from disbelief, and then there's the realization that sets in, and then there's this depression. There's this lack of optimism, and understandably so. When you sit there and you look at a house and when we were out over off of Wagner Ford a couple weeks ago, when I remembered impacting McCall when she looked up and she saw this little girl's room, and the pink walls, and 2 of those 4 walls were gone, and there was the bed. There was the bed of the little girl, and you said, "Oh my gosh, that's exactly what my daughter has." Yeah,
there was the little toy that was there. It's a little activity table, same one that my daughter has, and for me, I was like, my daughter's a little more than 2.5, almost 3, so it gives me an idea of how young the girl must have been whose room that was. She couldn't have been much older than my daughter, and it just breaks my heart to see that, and that was just one house on that street.
Yeah.
So.
But through the devastation, through the more than 1,000 structures damaged or destroyed, you know, as you watch this piece tonight, and if you watch it in the days ahead, you know, there is a sense of community. There's a sense of optimism, and to see strangers coming together, people coming from different walks of life, different corners of our viewing area, people come from other states to help strangers that they never met, and they might never see again. But that's just, you know, human nature. And I know, and people say, well, there's a lot of bad on television, a lot of bad in the news. Well, let me tell you what. There's so much more good than bad. So
much more. And going out and seeing that and seeing it face to face, how people were just so kind, you know, when all of this damage and destruction had happened. And like you said, people coming from out of town just to come in and help. It's just inspiring to see that. So. And again, the one gentleman who lost his life in Salina, you know, and I can tell you, when I was watching that night and I saw what was going on the radar, you know, my first inclination was there are going to be all sorts of people that die. So by the grace of God and technology, you, Cheryl, and our team, what happened that night, and you know, you hear it a month later. Hey, just thank you so much. Tell Cheryl thank you. Tell McCall thank you for warning us that night. And the weather app saved people's lives. So it did. And I mean, I know I barely slept a wink that night because I was convinced that it was going to be a higher death count and injury count. So like you said, grace of God was watching over us.
So you know, stay tuned. Watch for information on our website, whio.com, and then again Sunday afternoon, 12:30. Then that hour-long special airs again, so you can catch that, and it'll be on social media as well next week. So wanted to push that your way, and thank you for all the kind words for people who are so gracious, so kind. You are our family. You know, we've been at this now at Channel 7 for 70 years. And you know, as McCall said a little earlier, we don't take what we do lightly. We don't take it for granted. We have very demanding jobs, but we are so grateful for the jobs we do have because of what we're able to do and impact people's lives and save countless lives. A month ago tonight.
I think that the special showed that each and every one of us that were here that night, the day after, or the week after, that we're all human. It was, you know, each one of us, I think, was touched by some piece of that event and how it happened and unfolded.
And that's what's important moving forward, because there will be other bad things that happen to our community. But you know what? We're stronger because of it. You know, I was very young when the Xenia tornado hit, and I can remember my parents losing friends, people who died in the Xenia tornado, and to see that EF5 tornado hit and the devastation it left behind in Xenia and Greene County, and then look at what happened in 2019. You know, and I've always said, you know, I've said this to people in the past. We're kind of Midwesterners. We're tough. We're resilient. We get back up when we get knocked down, and I'm telling you, I've seen it time and time again over the last month, and we will see it again. We will continue to see it. So, thanks to all of you who have contributed and who have donated to our relief fund, where we have teamed up with the folks at the food bank, and have provided. You know, numerous opportunities for people to come and get supplies and food. Today, people stood in the heat for hours in the Trotwood area to come and get supplies, because you have to keep in mind, food is going to be a desperate need for so many people for the weeks and months to come.
Yeah, Dayton Food Bank had raised $170,000, and then the Cox Foundation, our parent company, threw in another $120,000, so $300,000 for the Dayton food relief effort for the tornadoes here in the Miami Valley.
So again, we can't thank all of you enough. We wouldn't be here without your support and your loyalty to Channel 7. You know, I always say we are so grateful because of the people who kind of paved the path before us. You know, the Gil Whitneys of the world, the Jim Baldridges of the world, the Don Waynes of the world, the Mike Hartzocks of the world, the Cheryl McHenrys of the world. You know, you and I have been here kind of just like a minute compared to...
I've been here a second compared to your minute, but
compared to, you know, other people who have paved the way for us at Channel 7. I was talking to Cheryl, coming up in August, she's going to be here 38 years. Mike Hartsock's pushing 40. So, those people are anomalies anymore. When you look at, the loyalty that they've not only had to the station and to you, but the loyalty that you folks have given us in return. So we will never take you for granted. We won't. All right, real quick, want to talk about heat and humidity this weekend. McCall, serious concerns. We're looking heat index up in the 90s.
Yeah, from this point on through the early part of next week, heat index values are going to be in those low to mid 90s. That means if you're outside for a long period of time and you're not paying attention, you could start to suffer from heat exhaustion.
Yeah.
You need to drink the fluids. You need to take a break. I know we have people that work outside. You've got those landscapers. You're out there all day. You've got road crews. Just really take it easy. And then, of course, it's great pool weather, so you have to remember, put the sunblock on and put it on several times and keep yourself safe this weekend.
Well, you have to keep in mind, too, people at the pool, and sometimes, and my kids, they've done it as well. They're around the water. They don't drink enough water. They don't stay hydrated. Next thing you know, they're not feeling well, headaches and so forth.
Yeah.
So, and we've been, I would say we went from, basically cruddy weather where temperatures were not at all problematic to all of a sudden here we are with heat indices up over 90. Went from like switching like the light switch.
I know. We could use some heat to dry out a little bit, but they're also going to fuel some pop-up storms. So while you're out in the afternoon hours, these storms that will fire off, they'll be slow movers. There's really nothing to push them along. So heavy downpours could lead to some minor flooding. And then today we saw some storms with gusty winds and hail as well.
Didn't you say parts of the northern Miami Valley on your graphic, inch plus of rain because they just kind of meandered. They didn't go too fast.
Yeah, there was a storm that was in western Miami County that was just hanging out there, and within an hour it had dropped 1.5 inches of rain. Fortunately, not enough that it created a flash flooding situation, but it's getting up there, and those are the kind of situations we'll see. And they'll be isolated, so you could be under a heavy downpour and you drive 15 to 20 miles east or west, and it's bone dry.
Still, the ground is saturated.
Yeah.
It's not going to take much for it to flood.
Right.
All right, what else you want to talk about? Anything else?
4th of July is next week. Whoop, whoop. It's my sister's anniversary, and she's coming into town, so I'm excited about that.
Good.
So hopefully the weather is going to hold out for that visit. I like summer-like weather, though.
I think in years past, you and I and former colleagues and current colleagues, there was one year we watched the downtown fireworks from our weather deck, right?
We did. We went up to the sky
2 or
deck.
3 years ago.
You have to find out when that is.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Sounds like we're getting old.
Don't remind me.
Not as old as Mike Hartsock, though. We're making fun of him because he's sitting right over there and he can't do anything to defend himself on Facebook Live. All right, folks, as always, appreciate your company, and thank you again for all the compliments, and thank you for watching tonight on our documentary. And again, for those of you joining us late, you can catch it again Sunday afternoon at 12:30, and then on our website and social media. We'll post more of that information in the coming days. But one final note, there was a couple people who kind of messaged me on Facebook tonight saying, hey, listen, I don't want to deal with this again. One person even talked about it being a ratings grabber. Well, I will tell you this. First of all, we're not in a ratings period. Secondly, we didn't make money tonight on this hour-long special because we didn't do commercials. So for those of you who think it's about money or those, and again, just one or two people, just the small minority, but it's so much more than that. And as hopefully a couple of these people watch that, and maybe they will change their opinion or their tune as to this piece of artwork that I call it, because it is one of the best pieces of journalism I think I've seen in my 17 plus years here. So for those folks who are behind the scenes, Matthew Simon, he was the executive producer on this, Mike Briannick, who was the photographer, and Emily Gay, who is our nightside producer. Folks, I can't tell you how many hours upon hours that they put into this to make it right. So if you have a chance and you didn't catch it, please do so. You will not be disappointed. All right.
We'll see you at
Until
11.
then. All right. See you in a little while, folks.